Howdy folks, it's Tato the Hunting Gear Guy. Yesterday the Government of Canada announced a new gun ban, or at least more guns to add to their previous ban. They had done a ban in 2020 and they have added some guns to the list. So I wanted to talk through some of what you need to know as firearms owners in Canada and see what might have been affected for you. I've got some more details on my website, so if you go to huntinggearguy.com, I've got more of these details in writing, but I'll just go through them really quickly. So they've added 324, they said 325 a couple times, new makes and models of firearms to prohib. And the style of prohib that they're doing is you can't take them to the range, you can't sell them unless you do business, that kind of thing. Basically, they just stay at home. You store them as you would before. So if they're non-restricted, you store them as non-restricted. If they were restricted, you store them as restricted. But again, you can't take them to the range. You can't go hunting with them. None of that kind of stuff. A summarized list, all AR 180 variants. So your WK180C, your Armalite AR 180B, the original, the OG, the WSMCR, the Siberian, the R18 Mark 2 or 3 or whatever mark they're on. All those, all of them. There's some I'm missing right now. Spectre, Spectre Ballistics International as well. All of them. Those are all pretty much Canadian manufacturers that were designing a firearm that was Canadian compliant, and now the government's saying they don't want them to be compliant anymore. So those are all toast. Most PCCs got nailed in this. There's a couple that they didn't do. I'm not sure if that's because they didn't have an FRT or they just didn't feel like it right now. Maybe they thought it would look bad. But any PCC you want to use for competition shooting, FX9, not the high point, but they got that one too. The MMP, FPC, Thureon Defense, Suomi, Ruger LC Carbine, Ruger PC Carbine, the Kel-Tec Sub 2000, the Kodiak K9s, all of them. All those got banned. All the B&Ts, these are $4,000 or $5,000 rifles. There's some in 223, some in 9mm, probably some other stuff. They all got banned. A lot of Beretta stuff got banned. Some of this stuff was already banned before, though, so it's like, and that's common with these things. They commonly add, they were adding in like anti-aircraft machine guns and all sorts of other stuff to this list as well. Who knows why? The GSG 16 invariants, the GSG 15 invariants, the GSG MP40, and the STGW. It's kind of funny. The GSG 15, they listed it as a SCAR variant. And the GSG 16, they just named. They're like, just that one too. So, again, who knows why. The Tavors, yeah, no Tavors. All the Tavors pretty much got banned. The Tavor 7, the X95, the OG IWI Tavor. The Lockhart Raven got banned. So, I only really got to use mine in a couple of matches, and it's already toast. The ACR, Type 81, Type 97. There are a pile of these. Like, okay, the WK180, there's a pile of those as well. But there's also a pile of Type 81s and Type 97s in Canada. Probably in the tens of thousands for both. For the WK, at probably 20 to 50,000, somewhere around there. Just for the Kodiak Defense version. Never mind all the other versions out there. So yeah, all those got nailed. The M17S, this is a bullpup AR-180 action. That one got nailed. Basically, any of the tactical, semi-auto, like anything that you might want to use for action shooting, 3-gun, that kind of thing, they're all gone. Crusader arms, their 9, their Sentinel, everything based on them, all those kind of things got banned. The Bren 2, there's going to be some upset owners about that because those are also not very cheap. Desert Tech, there's a bunch of theirs that got banned. The EAA Appeal, this is a bullpup 22 that doesn't look like an assault weapon. It takes 10-round mags, which is like standard for 22s. Somehow that one got attached. This is another scary gun ban. Anything that looks scary. The Famae SG540, 541, 542, 543, all of that whole family got nailed. And the way that they did this, so you might say like, oh, but I have a 543A or 543 Type R version. It doesn't matter. They said all variants of any of these. So anything that's even related to it is getting schwacked with this one. The P90, PS90, H&K, pretty much everything. SL8, H&K 36, all those got nailed. Kel-Tec, whole bunch of them. The CMR, RDB, RFB, SU16, SU22, all of those things got nailed. Kriss Vector 22, the M&M M10X, They had a whole bunch of 1918 and 1917 machine gun variants in there. I don't think there's a lot in the country. I don't know why they decided this. Again, scary gun ban. The Robinson M96, this is a predecessor to the XCR. They had this M96 thing before. And then the WA2000. There's like, I don't know how many of these there are in Canada. This was an extremely limited run. These things are museum pieces. They're like, I don't know, 80 grand, let's say. And yeah, those got banned too. So like I said before, those stay in your safe or your gun case or whatever locked up for now. The government says there's going to be a buyback. They're trying to do a business one right now. We'll see how that goes. But in any case, there's an amnesty on these things until October 30th, 2025. That's after the latest the next federal election can be. And right now, where the polling is, it looks like the Conservatives are going to win a vast majority. Not for this, for other reasons, for economy and other reasons that people, like everyone else, cares about. But suffice to say, the Conservatives have said that they're going to reverse C-21, which is what this one is based on, and all the OICs around it, which, again, this is an OIC. Order in Council, it's kind of like an executive action in the U.S. They can just do it anytime they want to, right? So they said they're going to reverse it. When are they going to, or if they're going to? Who knows, right? So let's, like, timing-wise, this could be October next year, October 2025, the Conservatives get in. It could take them a year, 2 years, 3 years to put in legislation. We really don't know. It would be a good opportunity to put in simplified classification, in my opinion. This is wrecked. This is absolutely wrecked. There's no credibility left in this system, right? When they're banning 22 rifles and museum pieces like the WA2000, like it's just wrecked. And when you look at a lot of the foundational law around how these things are decided, it's just such a big mess right now. So in my opinion, it would be a good thing for the Conservatives to look at simplified classification to make stuff like this simpler. Like, imagine trying to be a cop trying to figure out if a gun is legal or not. It's going to be impossible for them to figure out, right? Well, if these things are legal or not. Because keep in mind, this just looks, right? Does this look like one of the guns that was banned? But it's not. It's not one of the guns that was banned. And it's not one that I think they're going to add. Could be wrong, though. So it's difficult. It's very difficult to enforce this. It's very difficult for businesses to work in this environment. It's difficult for gun owners to figure out what they can or can't buy when the government just decides on a whim, like, oh, we're just going to ban a bunch of stuff that looks scary, right? And they do it fairly frequently. So I think it's probably time for the Conservatives to bring in simplified classification, something that makes this easier for everyone to figure out what's going to go down. Some other notes on that announcement from yesterday. If Indigenous people, they can still hunt with their firearm. If it was non-restricted before and it went to prohib and they don't have another suitable rifle, they can hunt with it. I don't know any other details around that, what you need to do, for example. Don't know anything about it. There's a buyback program that's in place for businesses that's kind of underway. They're trying to open it for all businesses. They have released some pricing on that. I'm going to show you guys in just a minute. They have collected and destroyed some of the firearms from some businesses. And one thing that was kind of odd, so they said that some of the firearms that they're going to seize from businesses, they're going to send to Ukraine. Which, okay, so most of the firearms that they seize will be completely unsuitable. Like, we're talking about 22s here. We're talking about semi-automatic firearms too. Not really a lot of those that should make it over there. The Ukrainians primarily use 5.45 by 39, which is a cartridge that isn't used in Canada. You can't find it for sale anywhere. You can't find guns for it or ammo for it because it's just not a common cartridge. It's one, like, that's the AK-74 series and beyond, right, of firearms that are popular in Soviet Russia and all those other countries that came out of the Soviet system. So they're not really popular over there. Maybe they'll use maybe some rear guards. We'll get some Tavors or some Brens that are from us or something like that. But it'd be a pain in the ass to support those troops because they'd be using a different cartridge than everyone else. So a little bit of a pain from there. The government also announced some timelines for some other things that they're going to be doing. December 13th, they're going to be doing some additional regulations to make sure that firearms can't come into Canada without an FRT. I thought this was already in place, though. So this might be just to, maybe this is going to be all firearms that are sold in Canada have to have an FRT. I really don't know. End of January, they're putting in additional measures for intimate partner violence. Again, this is a slow burn rollout of these things just because I think they're desperate for some good news for them, because their polling is just awful right now. That intimate partner violence. So if you're a Canadian and you know someone with intimate partner violence and they have firearms, you can just call the RCMP anytime you want to. They'll go check it out and seize the guns if they need to. February, there's going to be another list. They said that there's going to be another list. Some of the news reporters asked them, hey, what about the SKS? And they're like, oh, we're going to be looking at that SKS. We're going to be putting out another list in February, and maybe it's going to be in that one. So we don't know. We don't know what they tried to do that before, and they got enough pressure from some Indigenous groups and some hunters and that kind of thing, and they put pressure on the NDP, and the Liberals decided to pull it back, but they want to put it back in. Their ultimate goal is all semi-automatic firearms to be banned. That's been their goal several times in the past, and it's going to come up again. In early March, they're looking at another large cap magazine ban of some kind. So in Canada, we're already limited to on magazines, right? 5 rounds for semi-automatic centerfire rifle or shotgun. 10 rounds for pistol, and then there's some exceptions here and there. And by and large, we use like permanent ways of modifying the firearms. So the magazine will have a pin in it, and that will be how that firearm magazine is limited. They're going to make some other adjustment to this. We suspect it's going to be like they're going to make us chop the bodies of the magazines, which is entirely possible, or tubes for that matter. The wording that they had before is no long gun can have a magazine of more than 5 rounds and can never take a magazine or can never take a capacity of more than 5 rounds. So what that means, who knows? Maybe they'll make us chop the bodies, maybe not. And then they're going to be making a new panel to look at classifications of firearms. So that panel is going to be coming up. I'm just going to now I gave you a summarized version of all the guns that were banned. I'm just going to rip you through some of the ones that are on the real. So this is the actual list. This is in the Digest Inside Canada Gazette. So this is where the government publishes things whenever there's an order in council or an executive order kind of a thing, right? So there's a couple of, I have no idea what those rifles are. There's our Armalite Air 180B and any variant of, which there are quite a few, because that's one that Canadian manufacturers have been building for the Canadian market again. So when you see BCL like Badger and Siberian and that kind of thing, and you say, oh, but they didn't get the Grizzly, keep in mind that the Grizzly may not have another FRT number. These ones might be the only ones that they have. And if you want to find out whether it does have another FRT, go to armalytics.ca and then just take a look and see, oh, I wonder, is the SRV Grizzly, is this in here as a version of this rifle? And I see Siberian, SRV, and then SRV2. So I don't see any other versions in here. So I would take a look at, oh, maybe it's based on the Siberian. So you could go take a look here, see some 300 blackout. Do we see a 308? Yeah, there's the 308 right there. And if we scroll down here, sometimes it'll say like also known as, you know, this or that or the other thing, but they didn't get a chance to do that. But given that it's in 308, that's going to be included in this one. And there is no other SRV here. So yeah, that one's going to be included. Crusader Arms, Iron Guns, Chico, this is the one that they were working on to bring it to Canada. No such luck on there. Nodak, this was an earlier version that Iron Guns was working on bringing in. Spectre Ballistics and Spectre Limited. There's 2 separate companies. Both of their guns got banned, as well as the Sterling International, and yeah, all of them, all the 180s. And keep in mind, like, look at the wording here. The firearm of the design commonly known as this, and any variant or modified version of it. So if they're even close, they're going to say like, oh, that's a modified version of it, right? The MR1, the Benelli MR1 was kind of a bit of a surprise, but that one got nailed. The Berettas. The Browning 1918 machine gun in any variant of it, okay? I don't think there were a lot of those in country, if there were, but I guess they have been banned. Browning machine gun in 1917, again, okay, didn't know that those were available. There might have been some like half-scale ones and that kind of thing that would have been semi-automatic only, and it looks like those have all been banned. Here's our B&Ts. Again, these are very expensive firearms, and those all got schwacked. Stayer TMP. The Bushmaster M17S, I actually have a video on this one. It's kind of an interesting design. That one got nailed. Some guns that were probably prohibited before. Some guns, any of the Type 97 rifles. So any variants, anything that's a version of those. So they list a couple out here. But if you're thinking like, oh, I got a Type 97 Gen 3, is that covered? Yes. Any variant or modified version of these are nailed. Cobra, CZ23, CZ805, the Bren 2MS. There it is right there. That one got schwacked. RPDs, okay. I don't think we have any RPDs in here, but yeah, maybe we have some semi-automatics. Maybe Arms East made like 1 or 2 semi-automatic versions of this thing. Desert Tech MDR. Let's see here. The FEG. This was a it was a German styled rifle that was in 9mm though, from like World War II kind of a thing. F2000, FNAR, M249, and 8 versions of it. Okay, I think partially this is like some politics, right? They'll say like, oh, the conservatives are unbanning the M249. Everyone's gangsters are gonna be rolling around with saws and that kind of thing. No. The P90, PS90, those, again, expensive gun, and for anyone who owns one of these things, they've got 5-round mags, so they should have like 50 rounds in it. And it's got like you can just use 5 in it, and that's all they can use, all they could use. Any design common, the Scar 16, and this is the funny thing for me. This is a joke. They consider the GSG 15 to be a Scar variant. It's a plastic 22. It's a semi-auto 22. It, like, maybe if you're really drunk and you look at it crossways, maybe it kind of looks like a Scar. FX9. Yeah, any PCC. All the PCCs got nailed. Gepard GM6 Lynx. This is a super expensive. These are $15,000. They're a bullpup semi-automatic 50 BMG. They would have been banned before because of the muzzle energy. They're just naming them as well in here. German machine guns, MG34s. Yeah, okay, I guess. Yep. And then, yeah, here's they named the GSG 16 specifically in any variant or modified version of it, which is, I think, silly. It's, again, a 22. Grand Prowse Strybog, H&K, anything cool, G36 and that kind of thing. There were some of these in country. H&K doesn't generally sell stuff to civilians, and when they do, it's super expensive. So yeah, there were some G36s here. They're super expensive. The SL8s are pretty expensive. They had to put a mag conversion kit into them. There's all sorts of reasons why those were kind of a pain in the butt. The Springfield Armory Hellion. We didn't have this one in country yet. We're kind of looking forward to it. This is a bullpup rifle that the U.S. has, and we won't be getting those. Bunch of the Jards got nailed. Just Right PCCs, Kel-Tec CMR, a bunch of Kel-Tec stuff, really. The CMR 30, any variant, RFB, RDB, any of those kind of things, any of them, anything that's related to those are toast. The SU-16 and any variant of it. Sub 2000, any variant of it. Kriss and Kriss Vector, any variant of it. And we go on here. Lockhart Tactical. There's a Lockhart Tactical 9mm 223. They don't care. It's just any variant or modified version, any version of it. The M&M M10X, kind of expensive, kind of a piece of shit, so I don't really care too much, but I'm sure that the owners care that, their gun got banned. Some more weird submachine gun stuff. Grot. Yeah, okay. Rhodesian submachine gun R76. Okay. The Ruger PC Carbine and Ruger PC Charger, which would have been the pistol version of the PC Carbine. That one is the Ruger Police Carbine. Is that what it is? I don't think that's what the Ruger PC Carbine is. That what it's designed for? Ruger PC Carbine. I don't think it's the Police Carbine, is it? Is that what it stands for? I don't think this is police. I think this is pistol caliber. I think that's what I am not aware of this police carbine. I don't think so. Anyways, who cares? It's banned. M38, these are all like 22 copies of the MP40 or MP38. Those all got nailed. One of my neighbors has one of those. The Famae SG540, all of those. Smith & Wesson 76. I don't know anyone who has any of those. Some different Sten guns that people were working on, I guess. There's that Robinson Armament M96, which is kind of a neat thing. Some more 22 versions. This Suomi was a semi-automatic PCC, kind of like an old-timey version of it that we had. 10 Folio Appeal. I was trying to review one of these things and it broke, and I had it out to my buddy for repair. I guess it got banned. The Tavors, 21-7, SAR, X95, the whole family. Any version of that thing is getting nailed. T&W ASR, this is 9mm PCC. Thureon Defense PCC. The Walter WA2000. Okay. High Point 995. Oh, those poor owners. They're going to be out, probably like $400 because of that. Ruger LC Carbine. This is fairly new. I'm not sure if we had any of these things in country just yet, but they're kind of cool. Oh, sorry. There's the Rhineland Arms FG9. That was that 9mm assault rifle looking thing. And the Smith & Wesson FPC. So basically, again, all your PCCs got nailed with this thing. So what's this going to mean for firearms in Canada? I think one of the things it's going to do is put some businesses out of business. Some of the businesses that I had listed in that manufacture firearms, all of their firearms are now banned. They're all prohib. They can't sell any of them. All the stuff that they were working on, all the materials that they've prepaid for, all that kind of stuff is worthless now. Some of the businesses that have these firearms will be able to sell it back to the government. The government's put out a list that they're going to use for buying these things back. Some of the prices in that list are okay. Some of the prices in that list are not okay, and they're kind of an insult. Let's just do the list. So they have put out this list of parts and compensation amount. This is for businesses to sell their new stock that they can't sell. So that's the entire idea here, and that's what these amounts are for. They are not, this is not what you're going to get if you turn around and try to sell this stuff to the government as an individual. These are just parts and that kind of thing, so we can see parts for sale, but they also have a list of firearms over here. So you can, I'll add this to the description so you can look at it yourself if you want to, and just imagine what you can get for some of your different firearms. So some of this stuff, like if we were to look up like a Daniel Defense DD15 or something like that, $2,200. I think this is about what these things went. It's been a while though since I've taken a look at the prices of these things, so I think that's about what they went for. The XCR, some of these were $2,200, some of them were quite a bit more, so not really sure there, but it's really going to depend on this. This list here is only going to have the stuff from 2020. It's not going to have any of the new firearms on here. It's just the 2020 list. And again, some of this stuff is going to be like the Demaco C8CT copy. $600. This seems quite low for an AR. That's a Demaco, so I'm not sure why that price is so low. The Serbu BFG50A, I can't remember what these things are going for, but $4,950 seems like a nice round number. I'm not really sure why. If you have any unsold U.S. mortars, we got some pricing on there, but they're not going to buy any of these. There's no businesses in Canada that have these that are, I was just hoping to sell this M18 to the right customer, and no, there's no one out there that's got that kind of thing. But again, there will be some stores out there with AR-15s and that kind of thing that they can't sell. Mini 14s, these prices seem a little bit low for what these were, so I would imagine that's not a great price for what these people have paid. When it comes to some of this stuff, like the CZ858, I'm pretty sure 1100 is a little bit on the low end for what these things were. So some people, when they go to sell these things, are going to get hooped on the pricing, and they're going to end up having to just eat the difference. So So it's, long story short, it's going to be bad for businesses. It's going to be bad for those gun businesses that made the guns. It's going to be bad. Some firearms businesses are very much focused on the tactical market or the high speed, low drag kind of a stuff, and they got almost all of them. The PCCs, our AR alternatives are gone in addition to the ARs, so they're all toast. So a lot of those businesses are going to do quite poorly. They're going to sell quite a bit less ammo too, because if you're just using a bolt action or a pump or something like that, you're going to be firing a lot slower than you will with a semi-automatic. And the other thing that is going to cause for less ammo sales is competition. IPSC PCC was really starting to gain steam. We have a world-class team that we're going to send to Worlds, and I don't really know what they're going to do. Maybe they'll borrow some guns or something like that, but their own competition firearms can't be used in those competitions anymore. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what they're going to do. They're going to be using less ammo. So IPSC PCC, that's toast. There is not going to be IPSC PCC in Canada in 2025. 3-gun wounded yet again. I think 3-gun is going to look a little bit silly for 2025 because, well, there's not going to be any TAC ops. There's not going to be limited. There's not going to be open. Probably what we're going to have is like clipazine and then a couple of divisions of rimfire rifles. So our pistols are still good. People who have pistols can still use those, but we're going to have to use rimfire rifles for the action rifle part of it, and shotguns haven't been changed yet. Well, most shotguns haven't. Some shotguns have. Sorry, I forget. 2020 has been so long. Yeah, with 2020, a lot of the open shotguns got banned. A lot of the semi-automatic box magazine-fed shotguns got banned with that. So yeah, like some of our competitions are really going to hurt. Service rifle guys had primarily been using ARs before, and then the ARs got banned, and then some of them had been starting to build up WK-180s or Tavors or Ravens or Cryptos or whatever, and now they're just going to be all on bolts, I think, because there's not really any alternatives. So yeah, some of the competitions are really going to get hurt in 2025, and they're going to be real weird looking. But I'm not really as negative about all of this as I was in 2020. And so in 2020, they banned a lot of this stuff, and their polling was still fantastic, and there was not really a way of getting out of it. So we just had to grin and bear it. People were a lot more, depressed, and a lot of people got out of the sport in 2020 because they're just tired of it. They're tired of getting the bans and that kind of thing. I think this time around, some people may get out because they're tired of it, but I think they're getting this government they're all losing their jobs in fall next year, and they're getting replaced by a gun-friendly government, as long as everything goes the way it's been going so far right now, right? The Conservatives said that they're going to repeal C-21. Whether you believe them or not, I mean, they did follow through with reversing the long gun registry, which was also another big pain in the butt. They followed through with making ATTs simpler until the Liberals made them unsimple again. But I've got some hope that they're at least going to reverse it. What I'd really like to see is simplified classification, like a system of classifying these firearms is just a lot easier and takes all the politics out of it. This shouldn't be like this business of like a party just grabbing a bunch of stuff that looks scary and banning it because they want to and because they can is nonsense. And it's got to be stopped through legislation so that this isn't just a possibility anymore. But by the way, while this list was, it's got some scary guns in there, that kind of thing, the RCMP came up with this list. That's what they said on the press conference, and they had a member there as well. And they're doing that because they were using a definition from the 2020 OIC of assault-style firearm. And it's one of those definitions where actually, there's firearms that don't match that definition. So I don't really believe that was the only thing that could have happened, because the GSG 16 is not a variant of another firearm out there. GSG 15. Oh, it looks like a SCAR. Okay, SCAR variant. Okay, whatever. That's BS, but whatever. The GSG 16 isn't. So, but they just banned it but it's not center fire. Like the one of the definitions they were using is semi-automatic, has large capacity magazines, and it's center fire. And the GSG16 is rim fire. But it got banned. So I think that was definitely not based on that definition. That one was based on feels. So I don't know how much I trust that that it was like this. Oh, we just used this definition kind of a thing. I don't think it was. I think it was just based on feels. And that's really the thing we have to stop here is this business of just banning stuff based on feels, based on, oh, it looks, Cabela's sells it and looks kind of scary, so we're gonna ban this thing, right? So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about this. I think we're just gonna park our guns for a year. That not illegally. There's an amnesty. We have this amnesty to have these firearms until next year after the election. Use it. If anyone in your family has these firearms and then dies, leave them with the executor, especially if that's you. If you're the executor for their estate, just hang on to them. You don't need to sell them. You don't need to, because the problem is if you go try to sell them right now, if you sell any of these firearms to a business, they're going to pay you like nothing. They're going to pay you $50. Because you have no other choice, right? It's not like you have a choice to sell this to someone who's going to pay more. So just hang on to them and wait. Well, this is just a waiting game at this point, and it's not that long in the grand scheme of things. Yes, an hour to an election, or sorry, a year to an election, and then however much longer after that before they get some legislation in. But there's some light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that it's coming. The bad times will end soon. Anyways, thanks for watching.